Alan Ritchson's Reacher is great, but the Neagley spinoff already has a clear advantage with its main character. When Reacher exploded onto Prime Video, it was clear that Alan Ritchson's portrayal of Jack Reacher had finally nailed the role after years of debate over Tom Cruise's films. Tall, imposing, and quietly brilliant, Ritchson embodied Lee Child's wandering ex-military investigator with both the physicality and the moral compass that had drawn readers to the novels for decades. The series became a streaming juggernaut almost overnight, and by the time Season 2 wrapped, Reacher had established itself as one of the most consistently bingeable action dramas on television. But now, as Prime Video develops its next big step in the Reacher-verse, a spin-off centered on Francis Neagley, there's a growing case to be made that this new series might have a baked-in advantage over Reacher itself. And it all comes down to its main character. Neagley isn't just Reacher's sidekick, she's a fully formed force of nature. Maria Sten's Francis Neagley was one of the breakout characters of Reacher Season 1 and an even bigger highlight in Season 2. Fans of the books already knew Neagley as one of the few people Reacher genuinely trusts, a fellow former Army MP, whip-smart investigator, and fiercely loyal friend. But for viewers meeting her for the first time, Neagley's mix of unflinching confidence, razor-sharp instincts, and dry humor was an instant hook. What makes Neagley's character stand out is that she's not there to be rescued, to serve as comic relief, or to exist solely in Reacher's shadow. In fact, she often flips the script. Sometimes she's the one pulling Reacher out of trouble, steering him toward the right leads, or calling him out when he's about to bulldoze through a situation without thinking. The audience can believe that Neagley could carry her own show because, in many ways, she's already been carrying her own weight and more in Reacher. The advantage of a more grounded hero. Jack Reacher is an outsized figure in every sense, 6'5", 250 pounds of muscle with a knack for dismantling entire gangs of armed thugs in the span of a few minutes. While thrilling, his size and skill set inevitably make him feel larger than life, almost like a modern-day superhero without the cape. That's part of the fun, but it also means Reacher's stories tend to escalate into larger, sometimes borderline unbelievable scenarios. Neagley, by contrast, is grounded in a way that opens different storytelling possibilities. She's a highly trained, hyper-competent professional, yes, but she doesn't walk into every room physically towering over her opponents. That difference alone creates more tension. A Neagley confrontation can't rely on sheer intimidation. It has to come from intelligence, strategy, and the careful manipulation of the facts on the ground. This subtle shift means a spin-off starring Neagley could lean into the investigative and suspense elements of Lee Child's world while still delivering sharp bursts of action. That balance could give the show a wider tonal range, less of a blunt force instrument, more of a scalpel. A mystery-driven format could outshine Reacher's case of the season. One of the few criticisms of Reacher has been that its season-long cases, while compelling, occasionally stretch thin over 8 episodes. The audience knows Reacher will eventually steamroll the bad guys, so the suspense sometimes dips in the middle stretch. A Neagley-led series could sidestep that problem entirely by adopting a tighter, case-of-the-week or multi-episode arc structure. Imagine Neagley crisscrossing the country, or even going international, to solve intricate cases that demand clever problem-solving, undercover work, and careful manipulation of clues. That kind of pace would keep viewers guessing, give the series room for a broader variety of settings, and avoid the slow-burn pacing pitfalls that sometimes affect Reacher. The show could also dabble more freely in espionage, corporate crime, and intelligence work, areas where Neagley's skills naturally shine and where Reacher's bulldozer approach might be less effective. Neagley's flaws make her even more compelling. Another reason Neagley could end up outshining Reacher? She has vulnerabilities that don't just make her human, they make her fascinating. Book readers know that Neagley has a deep-seated aversion to physical touch, something that shapes how she interacts with the world. On screen, Maria Sten has subtly woven this trait into her performance without reducing Neagley to a one-note characterization. It's a personal quirk that can be both an asset and a challenge, one that could naturally play into the plots of her own series. Watching a hyper-competent investigator navigate situations where her own boundaries are tested adds a layer of emotional complexity that Reacher, with its invulnerable lead, sometimes lacks. Neagley's struggles don't make her weak. they make her wins all the more satisfying. A different kind of leadership dynamic. Reacher often works alone, reluctantly teaming up when circumstances force his hand. He's not a natural leader, he's a natural problem solver who just happens to be the most capable person in the room. Neagley, on the other hand, has repeatedly shown that she can command a team, delegate effectively, and inspire loyalty without resorting to intimidation. A Neagley spin-off could assemble a rotating roster of allies, some recurring, some one-off, with Neagley at the center holding the threads together. This opens the door to a rich ensemble dynamic, where the audience invests not just in the lead, but in the relationships she builds along the way. It's a structure that has worked wonders for procedural favorites like Person of Interest and Leverage, both of which thrived on character interplay as much as plot mechanics. The casting factor. Maria Sten's effortless charisma. Maria Sten's portrayal of Neagley is another key reason the spin-off is already ahead in one crucial aspect: audience buy-in. While Alan Ritchson's physical presence is the immediate selling point for Reacher, Sten's charm comes from a quieter but equally magnetic place. She radiates competence without arrogance, warmth without softness, and a kind of wry humor that sneaks into moments when the audience least expects it. Sten also has an agility as a performer that could carry a show through a variety of tones, shifting from gritty action to dry comedy to heartfelt drama without breaking the flow. That flexibility could allow the Neagley series to experiment more with tone and structure than Reacher, which is bound by its hero's more singular persona. Expanding the Reacher-verse without diluting it. Spin-offs are tricky. Go too far afield and you lose the audience that came for the original. Stay too close and you risk feeling redundant. Neagley is the rare supporting character who can bridge that gap. She shares Reacher's moral code, but not his methods, allowing the spin-off to feel connected to the original while carving out its own identity. Better still, Neagley's military background and network of contacts mean the show could plausibly bring in other characters from Reacher without it feeling like a forced crossover. Cameos from Ritchson or other Reacher alumni could be sprinkled in as narrative treats rather than necessities, keeping the focus squarely on Neagley while rewarding fans of the wider universe. The international angle. While Reacher tends to focus on American settings, small towns, highways, and hidden corners of the U.S., Neagley's skill set could take her abroad. In the books, she's been involved in investigations that stretch across borders, and the spin-off could tap into that to create a more global scope. This not only broadens the visual palette of the series, but also gives the show a way to stand apart from the distinctly Americana feel,